Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what are we going over today?
Just a Falco ditto. I I'm not really sure how to assess like the quality of my play. I think like I was maybe dropping a few punishes, but I think I just felt overall like confused and like I didn't really have like a grip on how like I guess not to be like super abstract, but like the tempo of the match was going. Like it felt like I didn't really know how to like get a grip in the game and like
Mm-hmm.
push a lead and like play my own thing. And I haven't like I feel like whenever I review the Falco Ditto, both like when I look at my own thing and like when I look at what other people do, it's like it feels like it should be this really complicated matchup, but like everyone's choosing like really simple options, like no
Mm-hmm.
matter what level I look at, and I'm like always like a little leaving either just as confused as when I started or maybe even more confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like none of us are really like that like good at the whole matchup together. And
Hmm.
so I think like it's like the balance of this complicated neutral that should exist always just gets broken really fast cuz somebody's not doing some piece of the thing right.
Hmm.
It's like you're playing against Fox. It's like you have this complicated thing you have to do right, and Fox is kind of doing whatever. But then, like, in the Ditto, you both have this complicated thing you have to do right. And, like, the chances of
Hmm.
both of the people doing it right is, like, kind of low in the modern meta, especially, like, just the way most Falco players play. Like, they're not. It's like, even if people are both doing things right, most people are not used to both people doing things right. So they'll still do like kind of like their personal, oh, these usually work to like catch the other Falco for doing bad stuff type of thing.
Yeah, that's how I feel how I'm doing it. Like, especially with interactions at the ledge, because like most of the and I think that I remember being really frustrated in this set because like I think I have like a really strong like default to punish double laser,
Mm-hmm.
but uh like I was messing that up, so I like wasn't getting like my stocks when I usually get them. But like I like played Magi recently, and it's just like, oh, I have to back off at the ledge like when
Yeah.
people play against me, and it's really confusing.
Yeah, no, it's crazy just like how underdeveloped the Falco Ditto can be sometimes in that sense. Like you get used to punishing the double laser and it's like, "Oh yeah, wait, like there's a reason why that's supposed to work." It's
Hmm.
cuz like they're supposed to have the ledge dash. I feel like so much of the matchup is like that. Like you just get used to like for instance um a bunch of the SoCal Falcos, like Cliche and stuff like that, they and like Asashi, they have like a really
Hmm.
bad habit of in general. It seems like the West Coast Falcos, specifically like the California Falcos, typically
Hmm.
try to like they just like short hop laser under the platform. It's like that short hop laser underneath the platform up tilt that people do,
Oh yeah, I know
but
what you're
they do
talking
it in like
about.
a timing where I can just always sneak in off the platform and get the down air before the up tilt comes out.
That makes sense.
And so I
Yeah.
just get like way too used to punishing that, and then I'll play some other Falco that just like doesn't take that position ever. And I'm like, wait a minute, how am I supposed to get openings? Like, like it's just like it's I got so used to getting this like freebie from these guys that like
Hmm.
you start losing sight of like the rest of the matchup. And so I think that like the Falco Ditto that should exist and the Falco Dittos that you're going to be playing in tournament for at least the next several years are gonna feel a little different. Like it's not weird that they feel like strange, because
Yeah. Yeah.
almost everyone is like, nah. When I went for this one wacky nair, like, oh, I always get the dub there against the Falcos that I play, and like, there's no way to know whether that's gonna be the right nair against some other Falco. Like some
Hmm.
Falcos will like every time the neutral breaks, they're just like, oh well, so
Approaching short hop nair.
yeah, or like every time that neutral breaks, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn around up tilt because clearly you're about to approaching laser me," and then like and like I've seen people do like triple turnaround up tilt like in a row
Oh
off of
my
like
god, I
neutral,
hate that
and I'm
so
just like, who
much.
have you been playing? Like, And so like I think, and the fact that like, once they get that, they can zero death you if they happen, the third up tilt happens to get you. It's
Mm.
can be kind of annoying, but I think that like the way that I try to play it is, if you play the solid neutral well enough, most people will just give you the freebies because they're looking like they're not doing their thing because of like a real reason. They're doing it
Yeah.
because of like they're reacting to some position. And so I think if you're like playing the positions well, then most of the time they will just sort of give them to you eventually.
Mm.
Um I think that, see, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's the thing that I think that has been the biggest thing for me to focus on in this matchup recently is making sure to change the position a lot. I think
Mm.
that it's really easy to be like, okay, well, I know that I'm playing this position correctly, and so like I'm just gonna try to win this position, and it feels like a ditto. So you're not really there's like, especially if you have like a slight advantage in the position or whatever, it just feels like there's no reason not to keep playing it.
Yeah.
But I think that Falco has so many options that sometimes, even if I feel like I'm playing this position really right, they'll just be like, yeah, but I did this. And it'll just happen to be like one of the options out of the thousands that Falco can do that'll just beat my thing.
Mm.
And so, like, I think that it's important to be like, you find the position and then you change the position. And most people will not be able to play the positions correctly enough as long as you keep changing it, and they'll eventually just do something like really silly. And I would say
Mm.
that that's how I win like like pretty much all the Falco dittos. I think like occasionally I'll run into somebody who's like also like pretty committed to playing it right, and I would say usually like my first stock against Bobby, the first stock we play this like immaculate patient neutral where we're both moving around and shooting stuff, and then like over time it tends to like degrade a little bit. um just like you start making like reads on the other person and stuff like that. But I think like at least if you can start out playing it right, um it should give you like enough opportunities to at least see like what kind of thing they're like, if they've already made their choices to do things a certain way. If you're playing the safe neutral at the start, you'll at least kind of be able to get a feel for that before things descend into madness.
Mm. That makes
um
sense.
okay, so is the stream working for you?
Uh, Try unpausing it. It's still paused on my end.
No, no, not sorry, the Discord stream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I meant. Like it does appear to be working.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, cool. I didn't know you could pause the stream on Discord. That's why I got
No, no, no.
confused.
I meant like you unpause the Twitch VOD.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My bad. I get it.
No, you're good.
Okay. So how do you feel like this set went, or do you have any thoughts on it in particular before I start trying to look at it?
Like I said, like I think I was like maybe not punishing my best. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely was like letting double laser slide when I usually don't do that. I'm usually pretty solid at it. And like this punish like should definitely kill him, but then I like misspaced my shine and then need to restart, and then I drop the next punish, and it's just like I hate starting sets like that because like I should have had like a stock like 2 or 3 times, and
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
it can stack up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch for a quick
Yeah, yeah,
second.
do your thing.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think like I was saying, especially early in the set, like especially like game one, stock one, I
Hmm.
try not to take any scrambles. Like
Okay.
pretty much because it's literally chaos, and they will get a stock lead off of the dumbest thing that has ever happened. Sometimes, like just
Hmm.
naturally, they will pick some option, and like for instance, like okay, so I think everything like up till up like everything at the beginning was really solid. I yeah, okay, so you get this, you mess up, you get this right here. I think I like the throw, like I like the throw here. Sorry, like
Mm.
the forward throw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the up throw's not bad. Let's see. Okay.
I think I didn't forward throw because like he could have like slid off. Like I usually forward throw there too, but I was like, oh, he could slide off the ledge and maybe I can get something more.
Mm-hmm. I think like they can slide off the ledge there. I think in my head it's sort of like I want to like my goal at the beginning is to gather as much information as possible. And
Mm.
so I think like the idea of like what do they do the first time I throw them to the edge or potentially in the corner, like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like I think that is how like the direction that my brain is going there is I'm kind of trying to
Mm.
see like do they drop to ledge and stall? Do they insta ledge dash? Do they do a double laser? Do they
Mm.
like panic a little bit? You know, like what sort of like their reaction to this? And I think
Mm.
a lot of times that type of thing is kind of how I'm thinking like the first stock of like a set or something like that. But I don't think the up throw is bad either because for instance you get to see if they SDI the lasers on the up throw and stuff like that.
Mm.
So it's not that big of a difference. I think this was almost fine. I think you just missed the fast fall. I think if you got the fast fall out right before this hit, I think you probably would have been a fine down air.
Mm.
I don't think it was
Yeah, I
like a
remember doing that type of down air a lot in this tournament. Like when the other options are like technically available, like I would just like usually close the distance with like short hop immediate like early aerial.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I've been trying
it
to work on that as
yeah,
just
it can be a
weeks,
bad
so.
habit for sure. I think because a
Yeah.
lot of times people are gonna look for like the up tilt trade or like a shine out of shield or something like that.
Mm.
Did you get a laser here? I don't know. I keep missing that.
Yeah, I shot a laser before the dare. It was just
Okay.
like he's just too far
Yeah,
away.
you see, you get the laser and you get this. Like, yeah, I think that this is fine. I think just in general, there's like a really big difference of a few frames on the down air. Like the
Mm.
difference between like, oh, it's an easy shine out of shield, and like, oh, it hit, like they were already fast falling and it hit just a little bit later, and suddenly it like completely swings back into like the aggressor's favor there. So
Mm.
I think like just doing like a slightly later, either doing like a jump and do a slightly later aerial. I think like that's what like Magi does a lot of times is like she'll
Mm.
just jump and do this like do the later aerial, and so that way she doesn't have to worry about whether it's gonna hit earlier or not because she's just starting it slightly later.
Mm.
And like if you think about it, like um so you have like the laser advantage, so it's not like you need to win like a short hop aerial versus short hop aerial battle like directly. Like they're not gonna be
Yeah.
able to like and like it's not Fox where like if you do a down air like an approaching down air here against Fox and they try to dash an up smash here or something like that, you kind of need to cover this space with the down air. But
Mm.
against Falco, you don't really need to cover it until you're right on top of them.
Mm.
And the
Yeah.
shield pressure with the late down air is also just like way more effective where like against Fox if you're going to do like a late down air shine pressure and you want to be super safe from shine it has to be like almost frame perfect, right? But
Mm.
against Falco it doesn't need to be quite as perfect, so just like a little bit of a later like aerial fast fall aerial and stuff like that can just change it completely, and then now you have a big pressure rather than getting the shine out of shield on you. So I don't think the decision is bad. I just think that the aerial itself was executed like a little badly.
Mm.
Um, so the up tilt here is an example of like a situation I would for sure try to avoid. Um, so like you get out, you're here. I would definitely do something where you could like hold shield and get pushed to ledge here.
Mm.
You could try doing. I think a lot of times doing like just like a you dash a little bit and then you like full hop backflip or something is kind of hard to punish here. Um, I think like basically just going for this up tilt, it just doesn't end well a lot of times. Like going for any sort of like, well, maybe it'll trade type of thing a lot of times is just it's just like creating chaos. Like your opponent is gonna be basically like coin flipping a lot in this matchup, And if you just join them with the coin flipping, then like it's not like you're gonna lose every time, but you're giving them a possibility of winning.
Yeah, and I think like the set is like resembles that because it's literally just like last stock game 5.
Mm-hmm. And I think like positions like this is the classic like Falco Ditto where like everyone knows that there's no way you should down air here, but I rip these all the time because
Yeah.
Falcos just let me hit with them, you know?
Mm.
But like ideally you would be moving up to a platform. You would go to the platform here and figure out something. Just because it just creates a situation where you have like a potential to lose basically.
Yeah, but the platform is like entirely safe.
Yeah, exactly. The platform's safe. You get to watch what they do. You get to do a quick bait. Oh. Okay. Nice.
It's
Yeah.
either shoot the lasers or drop the ledge. I can't do both.
I actually, yeah. I definitely think that, like, I will typically test, especially with how far away they went, I would typically try to go to ledge really fast there.
Hmm.
Edge guarding in this matchup, though, I just kind of, like, check out. It's just,
Yeah, it's
like,
really hard,
literally,
dude.
it's, like, nonsense impossible. It feels like it's just not ever gonna happen consistently. So I try to categorize what happens in this matchup into like a few sort of like boxes.
Mm.
So some of them are like, you know, you're on the side plat coming down and they're down below. And
Mm.
so they're like you're playing this like runoff like above them slight mix up and they're playing this like they're slightly below you type mix up.
Mm.
And then there's like the other interactions where you're both on the ground and you're sort of in that like approaching laser crouch shine type of like turnaround up tilt type of territory.
Mm.
And I think like I try to sort of, if it's obvious that the opponent is ready for one of those interactions, I will try to avoid playing that one in particular, and I'll sort of try
Okay.
to mix up on them, like which one that they think we're gonna play. And so like so this is like a really good example of like this situation comes up. I also don't really like this up tilt. I don't like up tilting on the platform very much.
Mm.
Um, like I think doing like a back flick back air or a down air or something like that would probably be
Yeah, it's more active. It's more like like I can drift away with the back
yeah,
air. Like I'm more
exactly.
mobile with the back air.
Yep. So this is like the type of position. So like look at what they do here.
Mm.
Is they recognize that you're on the platform
Mm.
and they could take this spot. They could try to they could like they have a mix up here, right? Of like
Yeah.
they can do dash, dash, wave dash off, hit you, short hop off, run off, hit. And
Mm.
so like they recognize that you are prepared for that exact type of interaction. Like you're
Mm.
turning around to up tilt to like to fight off this exact spot.
Mm.
They disengage from that position. They're like, "Nah, you're too prepared for that." So I'm not going to play that spot. And they like reverse the situation exactly.
Yeah, it used to be like really like good for me, but now I like have to get off this platform.
It's not even no, I actually so the side plat is so good that like you don't have to actually get off this platform, just like they
Okay.
didn't really need to get off the top platform.
Mm.
Like you're not at a disadvantage here. And in fact, I would say that this is actually like a slight advantage position. Like I
Okay.
think Falco on side plat is actually really strong against Falco on the ground, and I think
Mm.
normally because there's so many options to come down with the laser that a lot of times it ends up with this Falco if you just stay here it ends up either with them going right underneath you to pressure and then you move around this way, or they move back and then you kind of, you know, resume neutral or something like that. The important part is like it was like there was an obvious situation where you were defending from below and now they've changed it up so that they are defending from below. And it's the exact same thing where the next interaction, if you give them if you immediately play the I'm above and you're below interaction, they are going to be like mentally prepared for that. And sometimes
Um,
you'll still win the mix and be able to hit them. But it's the situation that they're the most prepared for, so it's going to have the highest chance of them potentially getting like a win here. And so like right after this, they're just immediately setting up for like, aha, it's time to set up this position. And so I think like, for example, something like short hopping off the platform here, double jump waveland, and then drop laser to set to like change the position to like, oh, I was
mm,
coming down on you, but now we're in an even position. And then sometimes even out of that even position, then I'll go back up to the side plat and be like, actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to attack you from this higher up position. And it's sort of like shifting these zones around of like which one of us is dropping on the other and whether we're on even footing or not. And it prevents them from being able to just get these like perfect setup positions like this. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
I did some analysis recently with I think you've done some lessons with Joy Boy before. But like he was just telling me like how important it is that like your horizontal position can't like give them exactly what you want them, what they like expect from you, because like
Mm-hmm.
it just becomes so much easier. Like even if you're in like a winning position, like they understand that the position is winning for me, so they'll like do their best to like play the end of that mix up that will like give them the highest reward. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
makes
No,
sense.
exactly. Really quick too. I just wanna Uncle Punch just for 1 second.
Mm,
That like, so for example, we're in that. Whoa. Okay. The FPS just dropped like crazy for a second. Um, we're in this position where they're here and they're just waiting for me to come down with like one of
mm,
these. And so like I think a good option here is you can do something like you do like this short hop and then you do that. And you can kind of like set up of like, am I going to come down with the down air? And it gives you more of like a dash dance type thing where you can like
mm,
decide to come down or not. And most of the time I'm not gonna decide to come down, but if I do this or this and then like they up tilted here, then maybe I'm gonna like think about that for next time I'm coming off the platform and then do, sorry, keep messing up. Do that one
mm-hmm.
where you jump and then you
Yeah.
do that. So if they're a little bit further under right here, my favorite option is to do this. I really like doing that off the side plat, and because it sets up that now instead of me threatening to come down on you, we're even, and now I'm threatening to come in on you, and I'm
Mm,
like, okay, am I coming in right here? And then I have the option of either changing back up to here and threatening to come down on them, or coming over here and getting something like this, or just resetting and then coming back in. And that whole time, I'm looking at what they're doing to keep changing the position. So I'm like, okay, we're fighting evenly. Now we're fighting with me above you. Now we're fighting evenly again. And then maybe they jump up. And I'm like, okay, now we're fighting with you above me. And then now we're fighting, even because we're both in the side plat. And I'm sort of changing those over and over. And I'm looking to see what they prefer or what they're going to try to do in each one of those zones.
mm.
But as a general rule, just like avoiding the zone that they're the most prepared for will give you like a higher odds of success.
That makes sense. Yeah, and even there, like I jump up to side plat after the ledge dash, and like I immediately get down air. Like even I do that short hop down air off of like the angel fly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I feel so dumb whenever I get hit by this.
mm.
I feel you on that. Yeah, I don't like playing these positions out very much either. I also think that it's definitely the type of matchup where like they can't force interactions on you in most spots just
Mm.
because like they're not faster than you, because it's like a ditto. And so I think, like, if you don't want to play a position, I think that, like, the Falco ditto, it just feels so, like, cutthroat and in your face that it's very easy to just start, like, swinging. Like, just, get out of my face, you know? And I think that, like, there's a lot of positions like this one, like, okay, so, first of all, that should have been, like, a laser JC
Laser
shine.
shine.
Yeah, but, like, if that doesn't hit and you end up here, I guess you spot dodge that, I see. I think it was, like, a combo of the things with the down air, but like you just don't want to like so it's kind of this like you just played this interaction where they're trying to drop on you, like basically you don't want to get caught in mini games as much as you can. You want to avoid the mini games because like they're coming down on you and you laser, you go for a thing, they jump, and now we're back in this position where they're coming down on you and you're spot dodging the down air to try to get them to miss the thing, and it just ends up this very chaotic position where you don't have like a lot of control. And I would prefer to be like, okay, they're coming down, like I try to get the shine here and they're going up, I'm not going to let them come down on me like a second time. I'm not going to keep playing the mini game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, okay, maybe after this first interaction, I go back to this side plat and I'll see if you're still up here. And I'm kind of like the actual game of the characters interacting with each other, you want it to happen like less often. Where like because you're getting more information about the position. Like it's better to be like, well, we stalemated the interaction where you were jumping on me, but now I'm assuming that your next interaction is going to be to keep playing the mini game where you drop on me. And so I'm going to try to pick a position, like maybe after this first one, after the first down air, if you move off to the side, then they drop again, you get a laser, now you're in a position where it's flat, and then you move back up to the side plat, and now we're in like this, like, am I going to drop on you type situation. And it's a lot of like resetting these types of positions. Like I say a bunch that like an ideal Falco ditto, the first stock is like really really long because you're both just like I don't know about that, and like every time somebody gets a laser advantage, the other person can kind of stalemate it and stuff like that. I think like taking advantage of those tools takes away the chaos, because that's the thing, is like you can win like 80 Falco dittos in a row and never really feel like you're like doing it super well, because it'll feel like you just kind of like took advantage of the chaos better, you know? And like I think that like the most important element, at least for me, has been to like avoid letting that chaos happen. Like that interaction where like you got an advantageous laser here immediately became like, yeah, I think honestly right here, like shield and just roll probably is better. I think the spot dodge is pretty defensible here. Like I understand why you did it though. It just notice how like taking one bad interaction, like the commitment here,
it just blew me up.
Yeah, like it's just like okay. And it's just this matchup is just that over and over of like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have tried to play right there. Like it just ends instantly. And yeah, so we're back in this spot, and I think going for this is fine. Looks like you just missed your dash back. I don't think you should have gotten hit by that. And so, okay, you get the laser reset. They power shield, you jab. This is, yeah, I think that like that's the type of interaction I would rather take at like 70 or 80. Because if they shine me like this and I'm at 80, most of the time I'm just going to be fine. Whereas like I have a lot more to lose at these like low percents. I just don't like dealing with like the chaos. I feel like we're like the same character. If we play according to like, if we're just sort of mixing in each other's faces, there's no way that I'm going to be able to like four stock you, you know? And so like, okay, that was good. Yeah, that down air was also shine out of shieldable. You got it. That's just like a bad habit of like the down air needs to be like fast falled before it hits the opponent.
Mm.
Like right here, it looked like you might have fastball right before, but it was just slightly too high, and that's why I think just doing the down air a little bit later and get stuff like that is probably really good, or will probably fix the issue. And yeah, this is like another one of like, let's just play the mix, and it's like they could just choose anything here. Like if you're doing like this into the up tilt, like they can choose anything there, and so like, and you'll literally lose everything out of it. Whereas like if you play this interaction a lot safer, like you're here, even just like ledge dash shield or something there, would be like ledge dash roll, or just get up from ledge, go for like a laser, do a refresh, see when they jump down. It's the matchup that it's one of the hardest to be patient in, and it's the matchup where like patience goes really, really far because the other person is also having trouble being patient. Yeah, every single one of these down airs is just a little bit. They're all off the exact same amount, so it feels like it's like a muscle memory thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it's just like they're just like a little bit. If they just hit like a little bit later, came out a little bit later, you'd be in a great spot. Okay, I love the jab F tilt there. That was like perfect.
Okay, that's what you mean by like. Did you mean when you said earlier about the jabs like that you would be at? Yeah, you meant you would be at
I
like
meant
the high
normally that I
percent.
would be at the high percent, but in that spot, you just had like a really good pressure. Like it was mostly just that like before, I felt like it was a spot where I don't know. I think them at this percent in the corner, and you have like the jab advantage or like the percent advantage and stuff. I think it just kind of made sense. But I normally wouldn't go for like these like center stage. Like I think in this spot their percent was high enough that it just really felt like you had like a decent pressure there. I don't think the jab was like perfect. Like they could have somehow CC'd the jab and shined you or something like that. But I think that like overall like that was a good pressure in that spot. I don't have any problem with that. But I think like overall, if you're center stage and you're both right next to each other, going for like the jab when they might be going for like who knows what down air that could end your stock, just doesn't make as much sense.
I agree.
But I think that was like a legitimate question to ask. Normally, I would say that like if you're going for one of those center stage things, having your percent a little bit higher so that they can't just zero death you usually feels good. But it is just slightly more nuanced than that. But
Okay. Yeah,
I think you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've been trying these short hop shines, and they're really like they're great before the lip happens, but then like when I get on the lip, like it's a lot harder to like space it because it's inconsistent.
In which
Maybe I
spot? Like
like
this?
yeah like how the you can like tech chase with like the short hop shine on Yoshi's and
Oh yeah,
Stadium.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I when I'm tech chasing, I just do the full hop one. I don't bother with that. Like I think if you're pressuring the short hop one's really really good, but
Okay.
not really too much of a difference except the short one, like you said, is harder on the lip. I've actually never even considered that because I don't like think about that in that spot. Like I just full hop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is how so many Falco Dittos are won, where you're like, you know what? I'll just embrace the chaos. Attack. And then you're like, wait, I'm winning. Like, should I have been doing that the whole time? And it's like,
Oh, not
not
really.
really, but like,
I just won the coin flip that time.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's, what's the best way to describe this? Okay, I think right now you're playing this well. They, let me think the best way to describe this. Oh, it's so hard to talk about the Falco Ditto sometimes, because, like, every position that comes up, like, neither Falco intended that to be the exact position.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought they'd still be under side plat.
like, both people here have, like, this image in their head of what the situation is gonna look like, and it doesn't look like it. Like, I think that both of you here probably thought that you were gonna laser them before they landed.
Mm.
And so like it's like, huh, well what happens when you laser and the landing lag is there? You thought that the laser is gonna hit earlier. And like this is why like I think like adding one extra step a lot of times to like the movement helps a lot. Where
Yeah.
like where like
Okay.
rather than taking this position as like, okay, they jumped down, I got my laser, I got my attack out of it. And like I think that is like the basic level of this matchup that you're definitely past now of like there's like basically like below your level of play, if you hit this laser, you should pretty much always take this mix up, you know? But I think that like when you get to a certain point, that it should like that laser should be your advantage on the next spot. So
I
like
see.
you're here, they come down, you get this laser, this would be a perfect spot to go off the like jump up to the side plat, waveland off laser, or do a quick dash dance and see what they're gonna do, or move to the top plat. I think like waiting for the next thing that they do and being in a good position to like punish that a lot of times is better than like just fighting indirectly. And I think it's just tricky because like I don't know, it's tournament, it's last stock. This is like a completely justifiable position to try to do from you. Uh, it's just like this chaos factor that happens over and over in this matchup that like our whole goal eventually to avoid this from happening becomes how do I remove the chaos factor, even if it like removes some sort of potential. Like sometimes there's like a good position and it would have been the best option to just take the position, but if you just take it as a rule, then you end up fighting out these silly mix-ups with people.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking of it like, cause like Falco has like the same jump squat as like Peach, and I'm thinking of it like how like I've been playing a lot of Peaches lately, and it's just like I can just do whatever I want when I like move around, and it feels like I can just treat it like if Peach had like a massive jump.
Yeah, no, it actually is very similar to that. Where like if where like against Peach, like if you just hold like you're like, well, she can't reach me from where she's at. And then but
Mhm.
if you just hold that position too long, eventually like she sets up on you. And
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
you're like, okay, well I need to like I can hold whatever position I'm at, but I need to like stay dynamic. I think the Falco Ditto definitely does feel like that a good amount.
Hmm.
Um so I think like a lot of times I'll sort of like it's sort of what I'll do is I'll be like, get advantage, do setup for next thing. And then
Hmm.
like kind of watching to how they deal with that setup. And I'm trying to find in this matchup in particular, I think that like the best way to improve at it is to try to find positions where you have hard wins only. And it's like that's not going to be how it ends in tournament, but I think like maximizing your number of hard wins is important because like they did an up tilt and I baited it out and so I got the down air, you know, or
Hmm.
like they approached badly so I got the laser JC shine where I knew it would work. Or and like honestly there's not that many of those where you could be like, oh, I read their waveland and I got a shine, or I jumped into their down air and I got like a shine. Like getting those positions where there's no question of like how their thing will interact with your thing, you know,
Hmm.
I think is like, and like the jumping into down air is like hard to react in some spots, but there are spots where they will do like a bad down air from like top plat or something, and you do have like a position where you can like get the reaction on it. So I
Yeah.
think like finding positions where you have the really really strong opening is like that. It's sort of like a thing where like that is like where your priorities should lie, and I think that there's a tendency among Falcos who go that direction to sometimes go a little far where they like lose like the dynamic element. Like if you're trying to play too orderly and the other Falco embraces the chaos, then like
You'll get like run down. I know what you're talking
sometimes you can
about.
get like run down and it feels
Hmm.
bad, but like the answer to that is not to also embrace the chaos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though that's like the temptation. Like you want to have
Hmm.
like as much control over the spots as you can, but then like occasionally be willing to do the chaos. But it's not going like chaos won't help you get better at the matchup. Basically,
Yeah.
like winning the coin flip does not help you improve. Wow. This is a crazy stock. Okay, yeah.
Aw, damn it. No, dude, what is
Wow.
that? I forgot
After
about
all
that.
that.
I know, right?
No, this is the worst. At least it's on Yoshi's. If this happens on Dreamland or something, like I'm just like, I want to go home. Like they're at 129. I'm never killing them.
Yeah.
Okay, got hit off the side plat again, but it happens. Okay. Still, yeah, the chaos is still kind of happening.
Yeah, I don't think I've learned my lesson quite yet.
Yeah. Okay, even game. Yeah, like in like a position where I get this laser, if it's not like immensely obvious that the shine will happen, like I would like obviously this is like a missed input. You definitely could have gotten the dash JC shine here. But like if it's not immensely obvious that I'm going to get it, I a lot of times will back off and just look to pressure the position where they're at next. Because, like, as the Falco who gets put in a negative position, an alarm definitely goes off. Because Falco's pressure against Falco is pretty strong. And so if you put them in a defensive position, most of the time they're going to have to do something to, like, deal with it. They're like, I got to deal with it. And I think that, like, there's just, like, a lot of spots where you'll get punishes on short hop back air out of shield or up tilt. Things that they're doing to try to prevent you from approaching after you get like a slight advantage position.
That makes sense.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that ledge dash up tilt. I feel like so much of this game has been like free mileage on their end. Either like hitting you out of invincibility or like hitting you out of like a ledge dash up tilt. A lot of it just seems to be like kind of like wasted hits. Where like if you had avoided those hits, the match would look different even with what you're currently doing.
I see.
Like that, like how much did you learn about the matchup by getting this hit? Or it's like a lot of times like this is it's like I hate this matchup sometimes. Is that like you get this and it's like okay, like that's basically what they've been getting on you this whole time.
Yeah, because it was just like if they like actually edge canceled the side B, none of that would have happened. Like.
Mm-hmm. I like this full hop though. I like the full hop a lot. Because it kind of
I
like
do it too much in other matchups, but it seems good in this matchup because the jump squats are even.
definitely. It's so good in that spot. And you're like, hey, this time though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's really no telling who's gonna win those. Like when we're at this point, it's just all of us like, well, we'll let the sun god decide, you know? Like this is like it's just extreme, like, I don't know. There's just no brain power happening during these points of a Falco Ditto, and I get that. Okay, so yeah, this is a good example of another position where I think breaking is good. Like, so right here, I think this was good. Right here, I would try to, like, set... Like, right here is my thought process that, like, they're going to scramble, and so I am going to try to set up something that gives me a slight advantage on the scramble, and then move around them and see if I can get them to do something that'll give me a free opening. So, like, for instance, like... They're doing this shine, I will do something like dash back, backflip, laser, dash back, dash in, late down air to try to beat something where they do short hop, immediate down air out of this shine. They get hit by the laser, then they land, and then they think they're going to be able to land in time to up tilt me, and then I get my dash back, dash in, late down air, and then, you try to get like a 0 death. That would be like something that I obviously, like, in the middle of that, I'm also going to be reacting if they don't go for that pattern with like the down air and stuff like that. But like, rather than thinking, like, because like, okay, like what position are you trying to win in this spot? Like, what do you think? Are you like, what are you imagining happening where you get like the win here?
Can you replay it from the start again?
Yeah. Twitch goes 10 seconds back.
I know, it's so annoying.
Right, so it's right here. You get this down air, they power shield, and you're right here.
Honestly, like I thought the dare might just like hit outright.
Mm-hmm.
And like I might like backflip in place and do like a bear, and like uh preferably hit the bear like late or like semi-aerial the bear so like I am not in lag by the time they're out of lag because it's just a back air at 0, and then hopefully I would have time to dash back after the back air.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, just to analyze what you were saying, the down air, you're doing. Okay, so let's go back to. So the down air you're doing is faded back, and so they're at 0. Even if this down air hits, the shine won't connect.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
True.
but that's not like a huge deal. More so that right here, if you're thinking of a back air in this position, the back air does not have like the back air is like, first of all, it's like a body interaction. Like you're hitting them with Falco rather than like some sort of like laser type interaction, and so there's like inherently like a chaos there. So like when you do the back air, there's some option that they could pick where they 0 death you.
Oh. True.
Like there's something they could do. They could crouch under it barely and get the shine. They could do a frame perfect shine. They could just move around it and get like a down air, something like that. There are options that they can do against the back air that will 0 death you. Even if sometimes they just do like the craziest thing where they'll like literally just like they'll just wave dash twice and somehow get like a shine perfectly on your like landing lag. And so like the back air does not have a chance for you to kill them. And so you're creating a situation where like most of the time you'll be fine because it's a solid back air, but some of the time you will die and none of the time you will kill them.
Okay.
And so like if I'm in an interaction like this where like basically if you were able to come up with an option here that like ended in their death, then like it would be at least somewhat justifiable. I would say a lot of times like, like there's too much chaos here. I wouldn't want to really take this position in terms of like going for like a commitment with Falco's like actual hurt boxes and hit boxes and stuff like that. I think like what you want to be thinking here is, how do I set up my clean opening? Because there's no clean combo starter big opening here, honestly, just down air and shine. Like, because there's no clean down air or clean shine or up tilt out of the air set up here, we don't want to play this, like, we don't want to play it bird to bird, like, right in each other's face. This is not, it's not in either of your favor to really play it out, but they're at a little bit of a disadvantage because they're stuck in shine, and, like, you just got, like, the power shield pressure, so like you're at a little bit of an advantage here, and so like basically you have a little bit more control to disengage than they do here. They have a little bit more pressure that like after power shielding that interaction that they're about to need to like defend themselves or like avoid this interaction potentially. And so like the goal here should be, how can I set up the next interaction where they will give me an opening? Like, if you feel like this Falco is always just ripping short hop down airs out of shield here, then, or out of the shine here, then maybe, you know, dash back, dash in down air or something could be really good. Otherwise, probably like a laser, and then see what's going to happen out of the laser, potentially change your position again, something like that. But it needs to be like a setup where you're like, if they do this, that will give me this, like my big killer opening. And if they don't, whoa, and if they don't do that thing, then like I am safe, I am not worrying, I gathered information about what is happening. Because, you know, they just literally are like, I don't know, Nair. And like if you don't have like this Nair doesn't, like, neither of these options are good. Like the Nair from them is also not good, because what are they getting out of it? They could have potentially, like, right here, if you just like walked in and held down, or like did something and held down here, you know, there's a lot of positions where they would have nared you and gotten CC shined, or ASDI down shined here. And so you go for the laser, but it's at a range where they can kind of hit you, and so you end up in this spot, and they maybe could have gotten a shine here, but it's not consistent, so they go for the jab, and then like you go for the down air, but because the percent is so low, there's not like a real ability to like do it, and like low key, you guys kind of hit each other a few times, and now you're back in this exact same position.
That's so funny.
And so now it's like, okay, so you go for the up tilt here. The good news about this up tilt, I think, is that based on like the way it split up and stuff like that, you are pretty safe here. They would have to kind of hard read this to go for the insta kill. To go for like the bait on the up tilt into the insta kill. It would have been kind of crazy on their end to go for that in that exact moment. It can happen, and like overall, it probably would have been still safer to separate and look for something more guaranteed. But I don't think the up tilt is bad, because at the very least, this up tilt hitting means they will probably die. Every Falco just loves to mash in these interactions, and it's not effective.
That's what I've seen a lot too. Like
Um,
it seems like a lot of the time, like when, and that's what I was describing earlier, like when uh Falcos are like in range to aerial on a shield, like they will like always take it. Like they won't like
yeah,
play it like how you could play it in other matchups. Like because like in that position against Fox, like you're not always gonna like short hop aerial when you're in short hop aerial
yeah,
distance. Right? That's
definitely.
not
They're
gonna
just
do
like,
it.
well, Falco's shine on his shield is worse, so it should be
Mm,
fine. And
yeah.
it can be a little frustrating because there's so much more depth to the matchup, but there are a lot of sets that you'll have to win in the Falco Ditto by being like, we created this position, and then I moved, and I realized that they just down aired because I was right there, and then you set it up again and hard punish the down air. And like, that is going to be 85% of the Falco Dittos you play for like at least a few more years until the Falcons get better.
Uh-huh.
Like, most of the time, the matchup will be you finding where they do dumb stuff and then just getting them to do it and hitting them for free. Unfortunately, it's not really the way it should work. Like, it should work with, like, you get the setup, you get the next position, and then they see what you're setting up, and they kind of defend, and they get their next position. It's kind of like chess or something, where like
Yeah, you're talking about positions a lot. I also thought of chess.
yeah, where like in chess you're like, well, in a few moves my big plan will hit, and they're like,
Hmm.
not if my counter plan like stops your plan, and then like, you know what I mean, like that's what
Yeah.
you want. But most of the time it's just them like, well, I memorized this build order. You know, like, and you're like, well, it's unfortunate that a lot of it is just realizing that they're one of the people who does this memorized thing and then just punishing them for it by using like correct counter plan, but like that is going to be the result a bunch of times. And like I would say that like that is like, unfortunately, that is probably like almost every Falco Ditto I've played
Yeah, every time I tell Flash this, like every time we play, it feels like this really awesome, like super sick matchup. And then I go on ranked and I'm just like
Yeah.
forward throw, forward smash. All right, go to
Yeah,
stadium.
no.
Like,
It's frustrating, and I think that it's just I think like all we can do is you try to get good at like the real matchup, and then most people don't deserve the real matchup. It's just like a sad truth of the Falco Ditto, and like it's just like like when I picked up Falco, I became like one of the best, or at least one of the most successful Falco Diddlers in the world, like very very quickly, and I was
mm.
like that doesn't make sense. Like I can tell. Like I can tell that I'm not that good at the Falco Ditto, but everybody just like feels like they have their pre-programmed patterns that they do, and you
uh,
just beat those patterns and you win, and it's kind of upsetting, but like that's just it. And that's why like my setup in this matchup is entirely based around information gathering and chaos reduction until I know what they're doing, and then I just play the position like 2 steps ahead and they fall into it.
mm.
And so like yeah, so there's this spot where this happens. Okay, you get the up tilt right here. I'm sure you know, but this is like a short hop forward air before they land. This you
Uh-huh.
should not be tech chasing that.
I thought they might slide off and I could get like a big nair or something.
Oh, like you like
I wanted to like read a slide off.
yeah. Yeah, I just feel like it gives them too many options. I
Yeah,
see
no,
I
that's fair. I think the fair is better. I was just explaining why
yeah,
I went
no, no,
for
no,
the
I
nair.
get what you're saying. Yeah, I think that it was more just like wow, like what have they shown you this set that would make you like think that far ahead on this thing like but
I just play against a lot of people that slide off there, I
yeah, no,
guess. Like,
I get what you're saying there. Um it's not the worst thing ever. I get it. Um
mm,
hmm. Yeah, the position ends up a little reversal because of that, where you end up in the corner, and stadium
yeah,
is
definitely not
frustrating.
ideal.
And this position, this is just one of those positions in the game where it's like, ow. It never really gets super good. Um, Typically, my solution to this spot in a lot of matchups, including this one, is I just try to get to the side plat. Because if you can get up to the side plat, you can dash full hop to the other side plat, which is almost always safe. I think
Okay.
working your way out of the corner on the ground here is just miserable.
Hmm.
So I think like jumping up to here and then fighting from there is a lot of times better. Hmm. Yeah, and then like the up tilt war happens. Yeah. I'm just gonna watch for a second. Like, so continuing the chess analogy, I think that the so can you feel with the pacing how like one beat it is, where it's
Yeah,
like we fight and
I'm
then yeah
like it just feels really stale, for lack of a better word. Like I don't like watching this. Like this isn't fun to watch because like it feels like nothing is happening. It
yeah
feels like we're
yeah
taking turns.
yeah exactly, and it's like it's just the equivalent of like, to keep the chess analogy going, of like a low level chess game where someone's like, aha, I'm gonna take your pawn, and they're like, well, not if my knight defends it, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna take this bishop, and they're like, not if this other pawn defends that bishop. You know what I mean? Like it
Mhm.
just goes very like there's no like wider plan. Like you need to be thinking like multiple, like you need to at least be thinking 1 step ahead. And this is like the typical, like whenever this will happen in every Falco Ditto, where you will feel this like 0 steps ahead feeling, where you're both just fighting, and your goal in these positions should be to like get back to thinking more than 0 steps ahead. Like at least 1 step ahead, ideally 2 or 3, where you're thinking like, okay, so like I'm here, and you're like, okay, so like now that we're here, this position should not feel like there's a warm space here where maybe my moves will hit, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I think that is like the default like unga bunga mindset that like Falco players, including me, will go into in this spot. Like that, you'll feel like the tug, like the natural tug of like, there's clearly like a conflict brewing here that we both need to participate in, and if I do it better, I will win.
Yeah.
Whereas like trying to think of like how to set up the next position from here is a lot better. So like for instance, like okay, we know that the corner position on Stadium is bad. So maybe from this position, I'm thinking it would be great to be here to pressure them.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking side plat too.
yeah, and so it's like, okay, so maybe I'm thinking that if I go up here and they stay there, I can get a thing. Maybe I just want to shoot a laser, and they might be thinking it too, and they're like approaching out of it. So like, let's say you hit this laser. I see why you wanted the laser nair here. It's hard to describe it of like, you can just wait a beat and then they'll be out of position. So like if you get this laser here, they're going to do this double jump. So now you can move in and they're doing this double jump, and guess what would happen here if you moved here? Boom. Now you have this corner pressure position that you wanted to get 2 steps ago. That would be like an example of like a position that you could feel really proud of in the Ditto. Would be like that you wanted this corner position and you used this slight advantage to push them back to get it. Whereas like you just don't want. That's why I always say it's like the body to body interaction of like Falco hitting Falco physically is something that like if it happens too often, it's usually like a red flag in my head that maybe I'm like messing up my neutral, like maybe I'm not playing it right. Because like, you know, let's say even if you set up this where you get this laser, but you don't go for, like, let's say after this laser, you just back off really quick and do like retreating laser, approaching laser. Then they would have done this, you'd be approaching lasering right here, they're here, now maybe you get a laser right here, and then you take this position. But it none of that involved like my moves will hit them, and especially at these percents, all of your moves are worthless anyway. none of the moves at 90 will actually help. Like oh, like look at that, they hit you. Like woo, they managed to hit you. Like you hit them, oh nothing happened, and it's like oh you hit them again, nothing happened. Okay, okay, now they hit you, nothing happened.
Yeah,
and it's like really that
hard to tech chase off like Ree's random stray aerials. Like...
Yeah, and it's like that is like the weak point, not the weak point. Like that is like the weak flow in the matchup that you're trying to avoid. Whereas like okay, and this was like you just winning the corner interaction, so that was fine. What I will say is that when I'm in doubt, my big play in this matchup to edgeguard is just short hop nair. You just stand here and you short hop nair. And, like, at the very least, you'll never get reversaled.
That makes sense.
It's really annoying, though. I hate the edgeguard in this matchup. Okay, nice. Corner pressured. Wow, what a read. Okay.
I know, right? I
was like, whoa.
In the moment, I was even like, fuck, dude. Like, that's just crazy.
So I think this was fine. I think this was mostly fine. Coming in afterward with the down is a little aggro, but it happened. It's an easy misjudgment to make in that spot, so I get it. Okay. Yeah, so I think it definitely annoys other Falcos that I play that right here I will just be like roll. Like I'll just like roll.
I've been doing that lately.
I just get like as far away as humanly possible because I'm like, it's not an advantage for me. I'm gone. Like I'm leaving. Like because like sure like it's because it's okay. So the reason here, and I think this is like a good like capstone for the lesson. We can go for a few more minutes though.
Yeah.
Is that like the reason you should retreat here? So the reason you wanna fight here is because you have an advantage. Like you have a corner pressure advantage, but you have a frame disadvantage, and even okay, the frame disadvantage is definitely that what changes this interaction into making you want to roll away or like leave the interaction. But I will say that like even if you have a positional advantage in the ditto, if you don't have at least a 2-step plan on how to win the interaction, you should leave.
Okay.
Like if you're there, because you can leave whenever you want. And so it's like, well, I have this like positional advantage, and it's like the positional advantage does not matter nearly as much as the plan. You need to win like the chess match. If you can't just like the more instinctively you move in this matchup, a lot of times not the worse that it gets, but the more gambly it gets. And it gets really ugly. And so it's like if you don't have a plan, it's best to leave. And like find a spot where you can make a plan. Yeah, even like this feels like a spot where you're like, I should be able to interact, but I would leave the platform here. Like right here, you have a bit of a frame disadvantage. Like unless you have, like right here, I would never have a 2-step plan to win this. I have no idea how I'm going to win this. And so like maybe I have like, you're like, well, if I put out the laser, then like we can play, but there's no plan already in place to like make it happen. So, like, retreating to the platform here, letting them take the space under the platform, and now we're in a position where we have, like, I'm coming down on the platform from you, and now you have the potential, full hop to the other one, drop down with a laser, dash short hop over here and get this laser. You just need to give yourself time to think, basically.
Yeah, because this is like actually a matchup where I can think. It's never felt that way until you broke it down, honestly. Like it's always felt like it's really fast matchup, but it doesn't seem like it needs to be.
Yeah, he's too slow of a character for it to
Yeah.
for it to be as chaotic as people make it.
Hmm.
But there's that pull, and the pull is there because like if you, like I said, if you never fight and you're always resetting, then they're just like, as long as I don't let you think and let you make your plan, then I'm fine. And like there's just a tiny bit of balance there, but like there's a clear difference between like I fight every now and then and like we fought 3 times in a row, hit back and forth,
Mm.
Okay. Gonna go like 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm enjoying talking about the ditto.
Yeah, it's fun. I like didn't really view it like this. I wasn't sure what I was gonna learn coming into it, so this is awesome.
And I also think there's I'm glad you're enjoying it, by the way. I also think there's like when you're trying to play the chess matchup, you'll just get punched in the face by the other Falco a lot. Especially like when you're training, and I think that is like it's basically you trying to play the chess game and then getting hit by the dumb stuff should be seen as like finally an opportunity where the dumb stuff is actually useful for my practice.
Oh yeah.
Rather
Okay.
than like, well, I can like punch harder than them.
Uh-huh.
It should be
Yeah.
like, like clearly there is like a hole in my ability to like play this complicated chess game part of the matchup, and like they're like managing to like find that opening, and so I just need to figure it out. And I think like analysis goes really far in the ditto in particular because you're
Yeah.
looking for the multi-step plan, like just looking at this and being like, oh right, I should have planned to get to that platform instead of like fighting it out. It's like when you're in tournament on the yard set, like you're not like no one's expecting you to like dynamically think that in the moment. It's
Mhm.
more so that like you can build those thoughts over time. The number of types of the number of positions in this matchup are astronomical. The types of positions in this matchup kind of small. Like, either you're coming down from the platform, or you're even, or they have like a little bit of like a laser advantage. Like, all those things, like, you can just look at that later and be like, okay, like, what happened here, and how can I like plan ahead? It's definitely like the planning ahead matchup.
Yeah, I remember I did some analysis before playing Bobby at a net play tournament, and I got 3-0'd in winners, and I was like, dude, I'm never gonna get hit by his like side plat shit ever
Oh,
again.
I
And then
hate
I
getting
was
hit by
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and then I was able to like win really clearly, like cleanly,
Oh,
the last
nice.
2 games of the set. Yeah, it felt good, and it really connected when you were like, this is like the analysis matchup.
That's sick. Yeah, but yeah, it definitely is, and I think like, yeah, like, nah, I hate this. I hate looking at that, because it's like, it's just, you both just put the blindfolds on, spin you around 3 times, shove you into the closet, and you just punch. It's like, that is like the equivalent of like, what is happening? There is no telling who will win this interaction. And unfortunately, it's almost always the dumber person. Like, because they have whoever has less thoughts, and sometimes that's me, and it's like, sometimes it's nice. You just like, you're just not thinking. You just, in the middle of talking with your friends, you show up and like, oh, it's Falco Ditto time, and you just show up and you're like, and then you win it, and it's like, and the other person was trying to think, and like, you needed less synapses to fire to hit your down air, and so like, you'll win. But like, it's just, it feels great being the dumber one and winning that, until you meet your match and there's like an even dumber Falco and they just rock you, and you're like, oh. Like, I hate losing those. I like, those interactions just don't.
They don't feel good.
Yeah, they don't feel good. They're not rewarding. They're not consistent.
Yeah, it's literally just beat, punish,
Yeah,
punish,
no,
punish,
you can
beat,
feel it just,
beat. Yeah.
and it's like, no, like, if one of you reset, because what'll happen is, when the other person is on this like beat for beat back and forth thing, and you try to reset, they will play their beat. The issue that happens for a lot of people, and this is what I'll end on, is that it'll go beat for beat. You try to reset, they do their beat, and you can't punish it. And I think that what happens there is people go like, like, if I had just kept going beat for beat, I could have punished that. And it's very much like a Fox full hop nair situation, where like, it's okay if Fox full hop nairs and you can't punish it. And so, like, if you reset the position and they go for, like, what'll happen, it happens so often where, like, you're here, they laser, you get lasered, rather than fighting out this dumb scramble, you retreat to the platform, they do the world's worst down air under the platform, but just barely the timing works out where when you try to drop down air off the platform to down air them, they get the up tilt out. And that'll happen a lot. And so it's important that when you reset to try to get your plan, they will a lot of times immediately give you the most dangling, like, oh, maybe instead of planning, you should just come back and hit me. And that'll happen all the time, and it's your job to ignore that feeling and continue planning. Because they will immediately, because they're thinking you're about to play a mix-up. And so when you leave the mix-up and they play the mix-up, just be like, no, my goal is to get the advantage. Like, they played this mix-up, I'm not going to try to hit them for it. My goal is to get the advantage on the next mix-up, or the mix-up after that. Rather than just... It's just, it hurts a lot, because it's happened to me a lot of times, and that's why I'm focusing on it a bunch, is that, like, I'll back off to think, and they do something, and I'm like, oh, why did I, it's just, it's like, you see them give you the obvious thing right when you back off. But, like, backing off for 1 second, and then jumping back in for the beat for beat is a lot of times worse than getting caught in the... Because a lot of times if you get caught in the beat for beat, you're both hitting each other, but nobody's really getting anything. And then you back off, then they do something dumb. You try to punish that dumb thing, then they get their clean opening. Like, that'll just happen, like, a lot if you fall into it. So it's just something to be aware of, to avoid that when you back off for your plan, they'll do something dumb. Your goal should be next step of the plan after that. Do not fall for going right back into hitting them afterward. And even if it looks really juicy, just remember, the juicier that it looks to you, the more that they know they need to avoid it. And so you can use that to your advantage in the next position. And, okay. So do you have any closing thoughts or questions or comments or anything like that?
No, I just like I said, like I haven't really thought about the matchup like this, and like I've been playing like really well against Peach lately, and I think like I want to think about it more like that, because Peach gives you a lot of those like random dash attacks, random down smashes on the
Uh-huh.
side flat that you might be able to full hop shine,
Yeah.
but like they could just down smash again, and like it's a lot better to just like go to top flat when Peach is down smashing, and then like make her come at you so you
Right,
can
like you're
like.
using the time to gain a different
Yes,
advantage that's not
exactly.
exactly. I'm okay. I'm glad you have that for reference,
Hmm.
and let me know how this goes. If you have any clips or questions, feel free to send them to me.
Yeah,
And
of course.
hope you have a good one. It was nice talking.
You too. Nice talking. Bye bye.
Peace.